Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. I'm your guy, Boulanger. And up next, man, we're going to be talking about a total offensive rebuild, tearing it all down and starting from scratch. Okay. But as we get started, man, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit subscribe. And when we get done, share it with a friend, man. We really appreciate you guys rocking with the GM. But a total rebuild offensively. Um, as we look at the Baltimore Ravens in their current state, it really looks messy, right? And I, for one, believe some quick decisions have to be made because if quick decisions aren't made, this thing could spill over uh, into the season, into 2024, and maybe even into 2025. Um, and so, a total rebuild offensively, uh, I think should and could be our best option, right? You see, what I love for Lamar Jackson to stay, absolutely 100%. He is that guy at the quarterback position, and the Baltimore Ravens have yet to tap into his full potential. But I think at this point, it's going to be hard for them to tap into that full potential, and here's why. Okay, if you resign him, whatever the contract is, if you resign him, you're going to always be in contention. But you're not going to be able to go get him a guy, right? I'm not talking about drafting a first round receiver. I'm talking about getting him a guy like the other quarterbacks have gotten, like Stephon Diggs, like AJ Brown, like DeAndre Hopkins, um, those types, right? There's not many guys out there like that, but I don't think that you're going to be able to do that. And it won't be because Lamar Jackson's contract is so massive. It'll be because you got so much money tied up into positions um, like left tackle, cornerback, safety, linebacker, that it's going to disable you in some ways from being able to um, go and do that. Number one. Number two, and more importantly, I think that um, I think that the foundation for a total rebuild offensively has already been put in place. I think that when you got rid of Greg Roman and you hired Todd Monken, which should have a totally different perspective and offensive scheme, I think that that laid the foundation for a reset. Let me tell you why. You see, Todd Monken comes from the ranks of college. Therefore, he's very familiar with these college quarterbacks, which I mentioned before in another video. So he's going to know what they can do, what they can't do, and how they fit his offensive scheme, right? And we saw, if you watched any of the combine, we saw his guy Stetson Bailey perform well at the combine, although he's under 6 foot. So I hope they don't go that route. But nevertheless, he's going to be very familiar with these college quarterbacks. And if you trade Lamar Jackson, you have to trade him uh, to a team who has a top 10 pick so that you can grab one of these young quarterbacks, okay? But let's do a hypothetical. Let's say you trade Lamar. I don't have the team, but let's say you trade Lamar, you get three firsts, a second, and a third. So you get 5 picks. So you get a 2023 first, a 2024 first, and a 2025 first, and a second and third in 2023. Now you got draft capital for years, which means you can plug in and fill all your holes. But if you tear it all down offensively, you move on from Rashad Bateman, move on from Devin Duvernay, and at the end of this year, you move on from J.K. Dobbins as well. And so then what that looks like is this: you got a young quarterback in the first round, 2023. You go ahead and get your number one wide receiver in the first round in 2023. That way, these guys can be groomed and grow together under Todd Monken's system. That's number one. Number two, you're able to go ahead and get you a cornerback in the second round, which you definitely need. That way, that need is addressed. Now you end up with two third-round picks in 2023, where you can go get your left guard who can compete with Cleveland, and then you can go ahead and get uh, a running back. But and the running back class is deep this year as well. So you got fresh uh, players at quarterback. You got a fresh one at wide receiver. You got your cornerback and then you got left guard and um, running back in the third round. So you totally have rebuilt the offense for the most part. Now you're gonna have to keep Ronnie Stanley because his contract is so messy that you can't do anything with him for at least 2 years. Okay, so left guard will be brand new. Tyler Linderbaum is basically brand new. Zeitler, you keep him because he's been rock solid. He comes off your books in 1 year anyway, and Morgan Moses comes off your book in 1 year anyway. So that's where you begin to look at Daniel Falele and some of the options on the right side of the offense. So everything's brand new. See, when I talk about a rebuild, I'm talking about moving on from everything that's already existing because it's already been contaminated with uh the Greg Roman EDC controversies, and so you move on. Now, when you look forward, you go into 2024, you have 2 first-round picks, yours and the team you traded with. So what can you do over there? You can get you another wide receiver, right? And whatever else you need. Probably a left tackle because I'm projecting that they move off of Ronnie Stanley in 2025. So now you got new left tackle, you got another new wide receiver, you got a new running back from this year. So your offense is in the process of being remade. Your defense is already in win now mode, right? You got a lot of pieces you're going to have to resign. So you're going to have to go cheaper on offense. This allows you to go cheap on offense with just getting fresh young players. Okay, bam. So that's what 2024 will look like. Now you go into 2025 and you have an option to take in best player available. And if you haven't got a right tackle in place, if Daniel Falele isn't that guy, you get a first round right tackle. And so now your offense is totally rebuilt. Now guess what happens? In 2025, you say $20 million on Ronnie Stanley's contract if you move on from him. Some of Marlon Humphrey's money comes off the books. Calais Campbell is gone by then. That's $10 million. So you have a lot more cap space at that point in time. And now you can go after veteran wide receivers if need be. This may not be a perfect plan, but what I'm saying is there's no point in doing patchwork. If you ever had to patch anything up, you know that what you patched in is not as strong as whatever it was originally. And so this thing has become a mess. You know what I'm saying? When you got players, past and present, speaking out against the general manager. If you're speaking out against the general manager, you're speaking out against the head coach as well, right? And so you have disgruntled workers inside of the organization. And so, um, the question is, what happens to make them feel better about their workplace? Nothing's going to happen to make them feel better about their workplace, especially if they do not resign Lamar Jackson. These guys want to play with Lamar Jackson, right? You've seen Calais Campbell come out and say it. You've seen Marlon Humphrey come out and say it. You've seen Mark Andrews come out and say it, right? And so how much more disgruntled will they be if they're hitting reset at quarterback and now they have to rely on a rookie to get them to the Super Bowl when they're in win now mode? They're not going to go for that. So you're going to have more disgruntledness. I don't know if that's a word, but I just used it inside of the Baltimore Ravens organization. So what I'm saying is hit total rebuild offensively. That way, at least those guys will have an understanding that this is what we're doing and this is what it's going to look like going forward, right? And then once you're ready to win again, which will probably be 2 or 3 years, uh, some of the big money contracts will begin to come off, right? And then you still got draft capital to get some plug and play players, things of that nature. So listen, that's my take, man. You guys let me know what you think. Do you think the Baltimore Ravens need to hit a total rebuild on offense, or do you think they need to do some patchwork and try to make it work with what they have? Um, and so that's my take, man. I appreciate you guys. I'm the GM, or this is the GM. I'm your guy Boulanger. Um, and stay tuned, man. I have a secondary video that goes along with that. Uh, that I think may be controversial, but it's not on purpose. It's just what I believe needs to happen if they go with the total rebuild on offense. I appreciate you guys. Hit like, hit share, hit subscribe. Thank you.